Very good evening to you, and thank you for staying with TV3. This is News 360, live from our studio here at Desawe Kanda, Accra. I am Martin Aseidu Dartey.
And I'm Ayisha Yakubu. Coming up, the headlines.
News 360 headlines is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint,
Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal,
EcoBank.
Former Attorney General and Minister of Justice Weija Dam dragged to the General Legal Counsel over alleged unprofessional conduct during the famous ambulance trial.
Also coming up, Ghana Water Company says it will not take responsibility for any excesses as it commences a controlled spillage at the Weija Dam.
University Senior Staff Unions call off indefinite strike following an intervention by the Finance Ministry over the implementation of negotiated agreements.
And later in business, Association of Ghana Industries, AGI, pushes for utility tariff reduction, citing sustained appreciation of the cedi against the dollar.
And in news from elsewhere, 2 staff members of Israel's embassy in the United States shot dead in an attack outside a Jewish museum in the capital. Stay with us here on News 360 for the details of these and many more stories coming up over the next 1 hour.
We start from the education front, where some refreshing news, striking university senior staff union across the country have called off an indefinite strike action following the Finance Ministry's decision to finally release the long-anticipated letter authorizing the implementation of negotiated agreements, which was expected to take effect from November 2024. 3 major university workers' unions, the Senior Staff Association, Universities of Ghana, the Technical University Administrators Association of Ghana, and the Federation of Universities Senior Staff Association of Ghana, declared an indefinite nationwide strike in protest against the government's persistent failure to honor the signed agreements some 6 months ago. In a statement issued on Thursday, the 22nd of May 2025, the union directed its members to resume work on Friday, May 23, which is actually just tomorrow. So it comes as some refreshing news following the fact that their strike already was causing some discomfort on campuses. Let's now speak to the chairman of the national chairman of the Senior Staff Association, George Ansom. Mr. Ansom, good evening. Thank you for your time.
Good evening, sir, and thanks for having me this evening.
What would your immediate thoughts be on the fact that some are already saying that government has been swift in acting on your plight as far as these issues you raised were concerned?
I think I agree with them, and we are happy about the development. And for all this while, we have never experienced such a swift action from government when we embark on industrial action. So we are very happy that the government acted swiftly. And now I think we are satisfied with what the government has done. And for that matter, we also extend a goodwill to the government and are asking our members to resume work tomorrow. We know maybe 1 or 2 might have traveled because nobody expected that the government would act swiftly as it did. And for that matter, if we are appealing to our bosses at the various universities that if tomorrow somebody fails to appear, they should understand that Monday, hopefully everybody will resume work fully.
What was the conversation like when you met with government? What were the key issues you raised and government's response for which you have decided to call off the strike?
Well, there was no meeting because we felt there was no need for any further meetings because we've done all the meetings. What was left was for the government to release the letters that we're expecting. And exactly that is what government has done. And we are happy.
You've asked your members to return hopefully tomorrow, May 23. What feedback are you getting from the general union body? Because I know leadership asked or gave the directive that let's all get back to work, but are they around and will they? What is your expectation tomorrow specifically?
As I'm saying, yes, members are excited because what we are all expecting is what has been granted. So you may get one or two people who want to stay home for some time. That one is normal. But generally, everybody is happy that the government has swiftly responded to our concerns.
All right, we would have to leave it here for now. Hopefully tomorrow we'll touch base with you again on the various campuses to see how the return rate looks like. Thank you so much for speaking to us.
Also, medical lab scientists have issued a 2-week ultimatum to the government demanding financial clearance or face potential labor unrest. According to the association, over 3,000 of its members are currently sidelined, adding strain to the workload in public hospitals. Our Labour Affairs correspondent Daniel Opoku spoke exclusively with the General Secretary of the association, Dr. Cephas Akoto, in Accra.
Since 2018, the government has failed to secure any financial clearance for medical lab scientists. Despite ongoing efforts by their leadership to engage with officials, these unproductive discussions have only contributed to a rising workload for medical lab scientists across public hospitals. As a result, hospital management has been forced to hire casual workers, earning 700 cedis a month to fill the gaps. Currently, 3,000 trained lab scientists are waiting for postings, adding to the growing challenges. To make matters worse, other allied health professionals are also in the same position, with a total of 30,000 professionals awaiting postings but to no avail. As tensions rise, agitations have already begun among the medical lab scientists nationwide. The General Secretary of the Medical Lab Professional Workers Union, MELPO, Dr. Cephas Akoto, expressed concern that any further delay could spark industrial action.
That can be withdrawing their service, that can also be demonstrations, that can also be sit-down strike. It can be any form of agitation that they may think. But that decision is not within our powers because we think that we deal with human lives. And what we need to do the work, we should be giving. And secondly, the kind of motivation we need, we should be giving. The fact that we save life doesn't mean we should bath every day, come to work, use our money for transportation, pay rent, pay school fees, and then we will not be paid. I don't think any Ghanaian will be willing to do that.
Dr. Akoto also shared his frustration with the current workload, which has only worsened due to the lack of financial clearance.
It's not even appropriate for a professional to be on duty alone, because once you are there, any emergency can happen. You may need the help of a colleague. We have had situations where someone was on a night duty alone, and she passed on. Whatever happened in the laboratory before she died, only God knows. The next morning, colleagues came and saw the person lying down in the lab. So we feel that the situation is that serious, and the employer should prioritize it.
He revealed that repeated engagement with the Ministries of Health, Finance and Fair Wages have yet to produce any tangible results.
We have seen situations where people have just finished school and are given the opportunity. They have not even contributed to the system. How about someone who has been working for the past 6 years without any proper contribution to his or her pensions and has sacrificed to keep the work going before someone just completed school 2024? We think these are just issues of discrimination, and we think that the employer should really look into this, that the allied health group are not a weaker link. Without their function, the entire health system cannot progress.
To some more news this evening, a private citizen, Daniel Kwame Ofosu-Appiah, has formally petitioned the General Legal Counsel accusing former Attorney General and Minister for Justice Godfred Weija Dam of professional misconduct in relation to the criminal trial of Dr. Cassiel Atoforson and others, filed under Section 18 of the Legal Profession Act 1960, Act 32. The complaint cites an audio recording admitted into evidence in court as proof that Mr. Dame allegedly attempted to influence the testimony of Richard Jakpa, the third accused in the case. The audio, supported by WhatsApp messages between the two, forms part of a series of evidence Mr. Ofosu-Appiah believes warrants disciplinary action. According to the complaint, Mr. Dame's conduct engaging privately with a represented party during an active trial violates multiple provisions of the Legal Professional Conduct and Etiquette Rules 2020, including breaches relating to honesty, witness tampering, and undermining the administration of justice. Upon determination of misconduct, the petitioners are recommending sanctions, including the possible suspension or removal from the role of lawyers. Let's go on to the phone lines now and speak to the petitioner, Daniel Kwame Ofosu-Appiah, on more on this. Good evening, sir, and thank you for joining us on News 360.
Thank you very much, and good evening to your cherished viewers.
Mr. Ofosu-Appiah, can you explain to us why you are now submitting this petition to the General Legal Counsel when the said alleged professional misconduct happened many months ago?
Okay, you know, this process of gathering legal documents and certify legal proceedings in court before you can be able to make a case out of it, it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time for you to apply for it. It takes a lot of time for you to even pay for it. It takes a lot of time for even the registrar to certify it for you to take. So it is not like it is something that I just did. I woke up this morning and I just decided to submit. It is something that I've started over the few months ago. I was on it gradually. And I don't even think it matters whether I'm doing it now because the gentleman is defending one high-profile person. I think the right thing must be done at any time and any moment, whether it was a high-profile person or not. So it's not like I'm doing this thing now. It is something that I've started over the months and leading to today. I've decided to file it. So it is not based on anything. It is not based on because he defended any high-profile person. That is why. It is never based on that.
In that case, what sanctions are you hoping to see being imposed on the former Attorney General? That is, if he is found to have professionally misconducted himself.
So when we go back to the petition, it's not petition, it's a complaint. In this regard, you file a complaint, you don't petition. When you go to the complaint, Section 16 of the Legal Profession Act 1960, Act 32, it gives the disciplinary committee, and the wording over there is share. When by the end of the day, they investigated the matter and they agreed or agree with me that the young man has breached all these legal ethics, it is their discretion to either reprimand, suspend, or remove him from role of lawyer. So that one, I leave it entirely to the disciplinary committee to make that decision. But what is provided in there is suspension, removal from the role of lawyers, or reprimand. Those are the remedies that is stipulated in there.
Right. Thank you for those detailed analysis. Thank you very much for your time this evening. Mr. Daniel Kwame Ofosu-Appiah has filed a complaint at the General Legal Counsel accusing the former Attorney General of professional misconduct during the ambulance case.
Now, Ghana is witnessing something unprecedented. A sitting Chief Justice suspended over a dozen legal challenges filed and calls for both her removal and reinstatement from different quarters. Justice Gertrude Torkornoo is at the heart of it all. What was meant to be a confidential process has now spilled into a public domain with leaked documents, court battles, and heated national debate. There's more in this 3 News Explainer.
It's the biggest test of judicial accountability in Ghana's Fourth Republic. It began on February 14 this year when the first petition calling for the removal of the Chief Justice, Justice Gertrude Sabatokono, landed on the desk of President John Dramani Mahama. Accusations of misconduct and abuse of power formed the basis of that initial petition. Now, by April 23, that number had grown to 5 separate petitions, each demanding the Chief Justice be removed due to the same reasons. Now, acting in line with Article 146 of the Constitution, the President forwarded the petitions to the Council of State. They met, reviewed the submissions, and advised that a prima facie case had been established against the Chief Justice, paving the way for further investigations. But even before the President could put together the required investigative committee, legal suits began flying in. One of the earliest came from Vincent Ekwesifua. He's a member of Parliament for Old Tafo. He ran to the Supreme Court, challenging the legality of the processes. He argued that the Chief Justice should have been given the right to respond before any determination was made. The injunction attempt, along with several other challenges, was eventually dismissed by the Apex Court. Now, while legal challenges brewed, the Chief Justice herself took a bold step. She wrote directly to the President requesting full copies of the petitions against her, stressing a constitutional right to fair hearing and due process. But that letter, like many other documents in this saga, it found its way to the public and it raised alarm bells over leaks and breaches of confidentiality. What was supposed to be a sealed process has instead played out like a courtroom drama in the media. These leaks have left many questioning the integrity, the trust, and transparency of the very process that was meant to protect the sanctity of justice. Then came the biggest bombshell. On April 22 this year, President Mahama suspended Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu with immediate effect. On that same day, he formed a 5-member committee led by Justice Gabriel Scott Puamai to delve into the allegations. Just days after the committee began its work, 2 suits, one from a civil society organization, another from a private citizen, all essentially seeking that the process be halted. Now, these suits were dismissed by the Supreme Court. After that, a new twist emerged, this time from the suspended Chief Justice herself. In her latest legal move, Justice Tokonu is seeking to stop the committee altogether. She wants the Supreme Court to issue an order restraining the committee from taking any action related to the prima facie case against her. Now, even more striking, she's asking that Justices Puamai and Aseidu be barred from participating in the hearings, arguing potential bias or conflict. This move has sparked mixed reactions. While some hail it as a fight for fairness, others view it as a desperate attempt to halt a constitutionally sanctioned process. This is uncharted territory in Ghana's democratic journey. A sitting Chief Justice suspended, facing removal, and fighting back through the very legal system that she once presided over. For supporters of the process, it is a litmus test for judicial accountability. But critics, especially from the opposition, they argue that this is a political witch hunt that could erode judicial independence. Whatever the outcome, one thing is clear. This case is setting a precedent, and the eyes of the nation and the eyes of the world, they are watching closely. Noble Crosby-Annan, TV3 News, Accra.
Moving on, the Ghana Water Company Limited has commenced spillage of the Weija Dam to release excess water and safeguard the dam's integrity. The company says it will not take responsibility for any unfortunate incidents as it has fulfilled its obligation. My colleague George Quaining was in the community and its environs to monitor whether or not other stakeholders have also fulfilled their obligations.
Past events have been disastrous. Houses, properties are not spared by the floodwaters as a result of the spillage of excess water from the Weija Dam. Although the current spillage is minimal, it could be in high magnitude once the source, which is Etiwa, records high rainfall levels. According to Ghana Water Company Limited, they've learned their lessons from past events, and so sensitization has been intense, unlike before. The Ghana Water Company Limited is managing the water levels, which is currently pegged around 44.5 feet with 2 gates, and the dam has 5 gates in all. And if all things being equal, the Ghana Water Company Limited expects no eventualities if stakeholders, including opinion leaders, district assemblies, chiefs, and even residents of these areas do what is needful of them.
On hourly basis, we monitor the readings on the dam, and we have data to that effect. So anytime there's a rise, we are able to tell, and whatever we have to do, we do it. If we have to shut the dam because the level is going below a certain level, we shut it. If you have to open more gates because the inflows are becoming too much, and that could affect the integrity of the dam or to impact negatively on the integrity of the dam, we try to open more gates.
The company says it will not take responsibility for any unfortunate incident.
Raining curses on institutions that have played their role the way they should shouldn't deter all of us from doing what we have to do. Because whilst you are raining curses, the larger population is rather blessing us for doing the right things. And I think there's more joy in the blessings that we receive than the curses. And we'll continue to do the right thing.
Some inhibitors are still prevalent. This heap of refuse here facing the dam has been left uncollected. The situation on the encroachment of buffer zones remains the same. Some buildings have been erected on waterways, just like this one here. Tetegu is one of the hardest hit communities when it comes to excessive spillage of the Weija Dam, and most residents here are used to this very development. What will make them leave these very places when their impact is severe?
We are aware, so normally we are prepared for it. Yes, that one I can tell you. Last 2 years, most people even slept at the junction over there. So if this year too, the same thing should happen, most people are saying that they won't go. They will just stay and wait for water to go down.
So I say, yeah, be any option. Yeah, free baby.
Some of us come from far, and so it will be difficult to vacate the community when there is an eventuality.
We are aware of the dangers, but we have nowhere to go. I come all the way from the Buno Ahafo region.
The Weija Municipal Assembly is working tirelessly to control some of these inhibitors of free flow of the spillage water.
Over a very long period, some people have gone to the blind side of the assembly to get established within certain portions, but we need to ensure that such things, no other places are being encroached upon.
As it stands now, the spillage remains controlled until the source of the Denso River records high inflows, which will trigger excessive spillage of the dam, where the impact could be dire. George Queenin, TV3 News, Weija, Accra.
To some health stories now, and TV3 has gathered that Ghana has confirmed 4 more new cases of Mpox, bringing the total number of cases now to 9. Although the numbers of confirmed cases of the disease keep rising, health authorities say there is no cause for alarm. The 4 new confirmed cases we gather are not related. 2 were confirmed from the Western region and the other 2 from the Greater Accra region. Earlier, there were 3 cases recorded in Accra Metro and 2 more recorded in the Western region. TV3 sources can also confirm that contact tracing is still ongoing, while those traced are currently being monitored. Surveillance remains heightened at the regional health directorates as the Ghana Health Service reactivates response protocols, including contact tracing to prevent further spread of the Mpox virus.
And our Vice President Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman this afternoon returned home from London, United Kingdom, where she was receiving medical treatment. She was welcomed at the airport by President John Dramani Mahama, First Lady Mrs. Lordina Dramani Mahama, Chief of Staff Julius Deborah, the Vice President, Chief of Staff Alex Segbefia, and other senior government officials. Also at the airport were the presiding bishop of the Methodist Church and family members of the Vice President.
We warmly welcome our beloved Vice President back home. It has been a trying time for everybody, and a lot of prayers were said for your safe return. And so today is a special day that you have stepped back in the country, on the land of Ghana, hale and hearty, looking younger, looking cheerful. And we thank God for His mercies. Since you left, your colleagues, we've all missed you. We held the 120-day social contract program, and everybody said you should have been there. But with all the work you did before you went, we continued. And I think that we're able to present to the people of Ghana a significant percentage of the things that we had promised. And your colleagues were very happy to have you back. I particularly have missed you because even traveling out of the country has been difficult. They've threatened to impeach me for, for going to Togo when you were away. So you're warmly welcome. We are grateful to all the staff outside there who looked after you, our embassy staff in London. I came there myself, and you told me how courteous they had been and how they had been of help. But we're happy to have you. The doctors say you are 20 years younger and that you are okay and fit for the job, but we'll ask that you take it easy for a little while.
I express gratitude to the medical staff too, for seeing the right thing, for making the right proposals. And to my boss, that day, I don't know where you appeared from, but he came and quickly set in motion what we needed to do. And I also want to thank all of you, your prayers, for your good wishes. I can't be thankful enough. I'm very grateful. But I need to isolate beyond family and friends, your brother, Mr. Ibrahim. He stopped at nothing to ensure that I had what I needed. And then he also came to the hospital. He came to sit by me, and that was healing by itself. So I'm very happy to be back, and there's so much that has happened that we all need to do. And I know that with our collective will, we'll do much more for our country.
It's good to have the Vice President back in the country. On to some other stories. A local climate initiative, Landfills to Landmarks, is shifting the narrative on textile waste, transforming environmental challenges into economic opportunities. With bold targets and a focus on youth-driven initiatives, the group is calling for strong partnerships with government and all stakeholders.
Textile waste contributes to up to 10% of global carbon emissions, posing a significant threat to the environment. But Landfills to Landmarks is turning this problem into a pathway for progress. Their goal is to achieve 100% diversion of textile waste from landfills by the year 2050.
We came up with a concept called Landfills, which represent a challenge, and then the Landmarks represented opportunities. So this is an event which is focused on solution-oriented initiatives to convert the challenges that we are confronted with into opportunities.
The initiative sees textile waste not just as trash, but as a catalyst for job creation, innovation, and youth empowerment. Through solution-oriented events and collaborations, Landfills to Landmarks is rallying stakeholders from local artisans to policymakers to drive systemic change.
A lot of our solutions must align with national goals, so it is important to ensure that when we are building solutions, it would include, number one, relevant stakeholders, and key part of them being downstream.
The Minister for Climate Change and Sustainability announced the introduction of extended producer responsibility as an initiative to curb the situation.
It is important that whatever we produce, we take responsibility for it. These regulations will shift responsibility upstream, ensuring producers take ownership of their products.
With eyes on a greener future, the initiative is mobilizing young people to lead the charge. Organizers say the next 25 years will be crucial in transitioning from harmful waste practices to sustainable textile solutions.
This is News 360. We have some business news next. Stay with us.
Hello, good evening and welcome to the business segment on News360. I am Menu Aful. The Association of Ghana Industries, AGI, is advocating for utility tariff cuts in the next review, citing the city's sustained appreciation against the dollar. AGI Chief Executive Seth Chumakwabwa emphasized that a favorable forex environment should trigger a reduction in electricity and water tariffs.
The Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, PURC, recently increased electricity and water tariffs effective May 3, 2025 as part of its quarterly review process. Electricity tariffs rose by 14.75%, while water tariffs increased by 4.02%. The PURC cited factors such as the cedi-dollar exchange rate, inflation projections, fuel costs, and the hydrothermal generation mix as reasons for the adjustments. However, the Association of Ghana Industries, AGI, is pushing back, arguing that with the cedi now trading at approximately 11 cedi 62 pesos to the dollar, utility tariffs should be reduced in the next review.
A major determinant of the cost of electricity when they are doing the automatic adjustment system is the exchange rate system, and then the international oil price, energy mix, and all that. So we expect that in the next review, for example, all things being equal, with the improvement we've seen in the city, we should have it should reflect in the energy tariffs. So if the parameters are pointing to a positive end, then we expect that the energy tariff, for example, will reduce unless we are doing a major adjustment. But if it's based on the automatic adjustment system, so that will improve.
He made the call at the AGI's Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency B2B Expo, themed Powering Ghana's Industry Through Sustainable Energy.
And in more news tonight, Executive Chairman of the Food and Beverages Association of Ghana, John Awuni, has reiterated calls urging members of the association and the general public to reduce prices of goods and services. He stresses that there's no more justification for the business community to keep prices at the current level, as transport fares are set to decline by a significant 15%.
The dollar, a major factor in pricing of goods and services in Ghana, has depreciated by over 16% since the beginning of the year, according to a Bloomberg report prompting calls for prices reduction. The Ghana Private Road Transport Union, GPRTU, has set the pace by cutting transport fares by 15% effective Saturday, May 24, as a result of continuous decline in fuel prices, which currently sell around 12 cedis per litre at some local pumps. Executive Chairman of the Food and Beverages Association, Reverend John Awuni, says there is no justification to keep prices at the current level.
Let us all carry this as a campaign. You may be selling sugar, but you will need to use the money from the sugar and buy rice. You may be selling rice, but you need to use the money from that rice to buy something else. And so if you extort, another person extort, at the end of the day, it zeroes up whatever benefit you are going to make. So I'm calling on all of us as a national campaign, let us ensure that the apparent strength of the cedi against the dollar reflects in the marketplace.
Reverend Awuni also called on market women to also reduce prices to bring some relief to the ordinary Ghanaian.
The Food and Beverage Association has already taken a huge step in a campaign calling on our members and then ensuring that prices will drop in the market. And also, I think our sister association, GUTA, have also followed suit, and then they are also ensuring that things, whatever has happened between the cedi and the dollar, reflects in the market. It is therefore very eminent that the market women, the retailers, ensure that the strength of the cedi against the dollar reflects in the pockets of consumers by way of reducing their prices.
And now the Women in Business wing of the Association of Ghana Industries has signed a memorandum of understanding with the Women Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture of Nigeria. The partnership seeks to promote intra-Africa trade among women entrepreneurs under the Africa Continental Free Trade Area.
The agreement signed in Accra is aimed at creating a platform for women-led businesses across Africa to share trade experiences and form partnerships to scale up their operations. The initiative is expected to empower more women in the informal sector to transition into formal markets within the AFCFTA framework.
It's an ongoing issue that we are facing AGI women in business. But help is here. We have made a lot of noise, and so the current government has included the establishment of the Women's Bank to help us to build our businesses and to scale up. So this is one of the biggest things and the biggest successes that we have.
The Women Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, an umbrella body for women entrepreneurs in Nigeria, believes the agreement will boost cross-border collaborations and ease regulatory hurdles.
There's so much that we've said that can come out from the exchange of expertise to the development of products together to trade missions across the world. I will say across the world. And there's several other opportunities that we can see. There's so much that Nigeria has to offer, and there's so much that.
Away from that, the Africa Center for Energy Policy, ASEP, is calling for the introduction of a graduated duty system on electric vehicles imported for personal use. ASEP suggests that import duties should be determined by the battery range of the vehicle, an approach it believes could encourage wider adoption of environmentally friendly transport.
There have been calls for the government to extend its tax waiver policy on electric vehicles for commercial use to include those for private transport. But speaking at the 2025 Africa Climate Academy organized by the Africa Center for Energy Policy, ASEP, the organization's policy lead for climate change and energy transition, Dr. Charles Ofori, says it may not be feasible to remove taxes on EVs entirely at this stage, as the government still relies heavily on such revenue to support the economy.
Everybody is looking for taxes to be waived. So the government has a major problem of balancing their ability to raise finance and then their ability to encourage, investments in all of these. So that balance is really there. What we can do, and one thing that perhaps we are beginning to advocate for, is to ensure that the way our duty are calculated on internal combustion engines, which is based on the CCs or the engine capacities of the various vehicles, we could begin to do same rather than doing the flat kind of duty charges, so that based on the capacity, it could be the battery capacity of the electric vehicle that could be used as a basis to really graduate the amount of duties that we can.
Let's now look at how the cedi is faring against major trading currencies and how some of our key commodities are faring on the global market. Well, that's how we wrap up business tonight on News 360. I am Minu. Stay with us. We have sports news coming up next.
Hello, good evening and welcome to the sports segment here on News 360 with me, Oreku Ampofo. We start off with some news in the Ghana Premier League because Heart of Lions owner Dr. Randy Abbey has expressed his desire to win the Ghana Premier League with 3 games to end the season. The Pando-based side are just 2 points behind current league leaders Nations FC in 3rd place and are pursuing a first ever title. Ahead of their game against Young Apostles on Sunday, House of Lions owner Dr. Abbey admits his club face a difficult task in securing their first league trophy.
I would want to win. I would want to win the league for the first time and also play in Africa. But for all the teams that are in the race, we have the most difficult because prior to the last game, for the 4 games that we had, 3 were away games and only 1 game at home. We went away and we drew, which meant that we dropped 2 points. And so I'm pushing the boys. I mean, I'm proud of what they have achieved so far. And if we win, it will be a major boost. But even if we do not, I think that they've done very well. For a team that almost got relegated last season, to be contenders for the season, I think is quite a heavy or huge improvement. And so I can only say that I'm happy with what they've done, and we can only encourage them to do much better in the coming season. So whichever way it ends, if we win the league, I'll be the happiest man on earth. But I'm even impressed with what they've done so far, and I'm happy with the team, and I think that we can only do better in subsequent seasons.
Well, to some more stories where the Confederation of African Football has unveiled a newly designed CAF Champions League trophy ahead of the 2024-2025 final between Mamelodi Sundowns and Pyramids FC. The 2024-2025 CAF Champions League final will be contested over 2 legs, with the first match scheduled for Saturday, May 24 in Pretoria and the second leg set for Sunday, June 1 in Cairo. The launch of the new silverware signals the beginning of a refreshed era for Africa's premier club competition. The redesigned trophy, part of a broader effort to modernize and elevate the image of the tournament. The new trophy draws inspiration from the fierce competition and rich cultural heritage of the continent. The trophy features sleek silver and gold lines symbolizing unity, rivalry, and the competitive balance that defines the tournament. Now, before we go, let's bring you from some updates from Europe, where Real Madrid captain Luka Modric has revealed he would leave the Spanish Giants after the end of their FIFA World Cup campaign this summer. The 39-year-old Croatian midfielder, the 2018 Ballon d'Or winner as well, will play his last match at Real Madrid's Bernabeu home when they welcome Real Sociedad on Saturday in their final La Liga game of the season. He has won 28 trophies, including 6 Champions Leagues and 4 domestic titles since joining Real from Spurs in 2012. Real will open their Club World Cup campaign against Saudi Arabia's Al Hilal on June 18 and will also face Mexico's Pachuca and RB Salzburg of Austria in the group stage. Modric bagged 2 goals and 6 assists in 34 appearances in the Spanish top flight this season, as Real Madrid were unfortunately pipped to the title by Barcelona. And so those are the numbers for Luka Modric for his time at Real Madrid. 590 games, could be 500 and potentially 95, depending on how far Real Madrid go in the Club World Cup. But so far, he has 43 goals and 95 assists, winning 28 trophies. Well, you can get some more updates and the latest news on our social media handles at 3SportsGH. My name is Oreku Ampofo, and that's the sports segment on News 360. Up next is entertainment.
In entertainment news tonight, 5 finalists are set to compete for the ultimate title in Talented Kids Season 16. Who will take home the crown and the bragging rights? Head of events at Media General AJ Sapon has been sharing insights ahead of the highly anticipated grand finale.
Who will crown the winner of Talented Kids Season 16?
From 16 contestants, it all comes down to the final 5. The finalists of TV3's Talented Kids Season 16 left it all on the stage. The music maniacs have shown their power on the mic. The captivating instrumentalists have wowed us. And the dance machines, their moves, twists and turns have been nothing short of mesmerizing.
I mean, it's our 16th edition of this season of Talented Kids, and we're so excited because the talent is incredible throughout the last few weeks to emerge as the top finalists, and I truly must commend them and their support team for actually going the distance when it comes down to it, because it takes a toll on you beyond having to think each week about bringing something exciting, but they have surmounted all of it and they are now at the finale. So big congratulations going out to Ice Girl, to Classic Voice, to 2Gs, to Kaima, and as well to Insuraba, and we're looking forward to what they will bring us on Sunday.
But the big question remains, who will claim the title and the bragging rights of Talented Kids Season 16 champion? And let's not forget the exciting prize packages waiting for the winner.
Our prize packages been more exciting. So last year, Biscuit got to go to Belgium and Netherlands. This year, we're going to Netherlands and the UK.
Oh, wow.
The winner, courtesy TIW Foundation.
So minus the 20,000, they get all these packages.
They're going to the UK.
Wow.
The Britain's UK. It's an educational and entertaining trip where they go and meet different individuals in these countries. They get to fraternize with other creative kids.
So mark your calendar. All roads lead to the National Theatre on Sunday, May 25 at 3 p.m. sharp for the grand finale of Talented Kids Season 16. Talented Kids, free to play.
Time now for international news.
Two Israeli embassy staff have been shot dead while leaving an event at the Capitol Jewish Museum in Washington, D.C. They were a couple and in the prime of their lives before they were killed. The suspect has been detained and identified by police as a 30-year-old from Chicago. Police say he shouted "Free Palestine" before being taken into custody, and officers will look into ties with potential terrorism. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says security will be increased at Israeli embassies worldwide, while Foreign Minister said the shooting was a direct result of toxic incitement against Israel and Jews around the world. 3 people have died and another is missing after major flooding in New South Wales left more than 50,000 people under evacuation warnings. The record rainfall, now declared a natural disaster, was caused by a slow-moving area of low pressure and is greater than any living memory for some residents. More than 2,000 emergency service workers are attending rescues, including of people who were stranded on rooftops overnight. Separate searches are underway for missing people on the mid-north coast. One woman went missing after her car was trapped in floodwaters. Another man was reported missing after walking near a flooded road and failing to return home. More than 100 schools have been closed because of the floods, which have left thousands of homes and businesses without power.
And that's how we bring the bulletin to an end. Thank you so much for watching. I am Martin Aseidu Dartey.
And I'm Ayisha Yakubu. Good evening.